You are now listening to the In Good Company podcast.
Hi. As you can see, the Growing and Becoming podcast has officially rebranded, and we are now in good company. You're probably wondering why the rebrand. To be honest, I just wanted a name that reflects the heart of what we've always been about, which is building meaningful relationships and growing together as individuals and a community. This podcast exists to emphasize the lifestyle of togetherness and to do away with the culture of isolation and individualism. So whether you are here for friendships, dating, marriage, family, or professional relationships, this is the space for you. To usher us into this new era, today's episode is part of a new series that we'll be doing called Real People, Real Love. Essentially, I will be bringing together real human beings with real life relationships that are thriving, and they will share their experiences, how they started, what they're doing to nurture their relationship, nurture their love, and basically just have real and honest conversations about the complexities of building different kinds of relationships. So I really hope that you stick with us. I really hope that this new name resonates well with you and you let everybody know that we have rebranded and we're still the same people, same story, same mission, same hearts, just a different name. Having said all of that, here's what you can do to help us reach even more people with this podcast. All you have to do is share the episodes that you really enjoyed. Let people know that this podcast exists and let them know that you are in good company so that they too can enjoy good company. On that note, I welcome you to a new era. Enjoy the episode. Hello, lovely people. Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. As you can see today, I have very special guests with me. I'm going to let you introduce yourselves. Please tell everybody who you are.
Okay.
Who's going first?
Okay, let's go first. So my name is Yeni Adenuga.
Is it Ayani or just Yeni? What do you want us to call you, though?
Yeni, so my full name is Ola Yeni.
Ola Yeni, no, where did I get that from? I think I thought, because you usually say Mr. A. Yeah. A for Ayeni, because I've heard Ayeni.
Oh, yeah, so Ayeni is a bit more
popular.
Yeah,
so it's Ola Yeni.
It's from our surname that I call him Mr.
Okay, I didn't know that. Fair enough. Lovely.
What do I do? I walk in alignment with the angels of my destiny.
A word.
But yeah, so I'm a videographer, video producer, director, graphic designer.
One of the best in the world.
Everything.
One of the best in the world. You know, I saw a video. I think one of the first videos that you did when you touched down Manchester.
Oh yeah.
Hey. When I said that, I saw my husband and said, the band is collected.
You know, as I came, I had to come in with a band.
No, it was loud. I don't know about the other people. Personally, I edit. But you're really great stuff that you do. You're really talented. Great work, great stuff. Let's meet you, Mo.
Okay, hi. My name is Mo Adenuga. I am a marketing strategist. I'm also a content creator. So I create content of faith.
Also one of the best.
Finance, fun content sometimes. A mix of everything, really. And yeah, I think those are like the two major things I do. I coach, sometimes as well, like career coaching, personal finance coaching, depending on what's like clients need per time.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are like the two major pockets.
Well, that's so important, and especially like I would really just use the opportunity to say that if you're a lady and you're listening to this podcast, Facebook her. If you're a guy too, but I find that, well, maybe for the people within my sphere of influence, not a lot of women are having conversations around finance. Maybe one day you come back on this podcast to talk about that, because it's so important. We need to be thinking of building assets, building wealth
especially for women. I remember I was listening to a podcast. They mentioned something that I hadn't really talked about, but it's so true when I think about it. When women are thinking of building their legacy, it's always about like other people. So you find women wanting to do charities, they want to do community development work, they're serving a church and all of that. But when it comes to what you're passing down to your children, I thought about it and I realized I have a child, I actually have not thought about what I want to pass on to him. I'm just thinking, oh, that's kind of like what my husband is doing, and so I become one now. So yeah, so that's just his responsibility. Exactly. Just made me realize that, we should also be thinking about that because God forbid anything can happen. The people that has happened to where once passed as, passed on or something. Imagine if it's the husband. So it's like you're now left with this responsibility. So it's really important that everyone is having these conversations. But anyway, really great work that you do. We really appreciate me. I appreciate you. I don't know if you see my comments. I'm just like, yeah, oh my God, yes. Anyways, so I'm so grateful to both of you for taking our time
Thank you for having us.
Grace the podcast. And you're our first guest since the rebrand. So this is good company. You are good company. Today we're going to be talking about, obviously, why would I bring married people if I'm not going to talk about marriage, innit? So I prepared a few questions that I have to ask you, but it's going to just be like a conversation. We're just going to have a little chit chat. First thing I want to know is how you met. You've talked about this. By the way, they have a thriving YouTube community, so follow them on YouTube. You have told us, those of us that are on board that they didn't got trained. Those people that are still under the rock. Alas, now that this episode will be released,
the lights.
brother.
All right. So how did we meet? We met at work. So we used to work at a fintech company in 20. So she joined before me. I joined in 2021. I think you joined in 2020. Yeah. So, and then we happened to be working in the same department, in the marketing department. So I was handling videos, graphics and things like that, while she was a marketing manager.
Victim.
Yeah, exactly. Sure.
Like he was shooting me for some of this.
Yeah, so anytime we get to do videos on, because it was a fintech company, so anytime we get to do videos on finance and things like that, she would always be like the face of the video. So we kind of spent much time together, because I was shooting, she's behind the camera. But there was nothing at that time.
Just friends, just colleagues.
Yeah, I mean, we later became like close friends because we had like literally everyone in the marketing department, actually, we all became like close friends, kind of bonded over,
the shared interests.
Yes, that's the better way to put it. We bonded over shared interests. So we became close friends. And so let me just move now to where things, almost started to happen.
Yeah.
That was in September 2023. Yes, September 2023. Yeah. So she moved. So she left the company and then moved out of. Yeah, she moved out of the country. I went to the UK while I was still in Nigeria. But then we all still kept contact. We used to talk and all that.
And at this time, you were still just friends.
Yes, we were still just friends.
This is very interesting.
We're still just friends. So 2023. So let me stop there. So 2023, September 2023 was when, things started to kind of take a shift, right? So now I'll leave that remaining part.
Did you see this? Oh yeah, now let's go.
The storyteller.
Actually.
So the thing is, like, things shifted even before September 2023.
For you or for both of you?
For me, mostly.
Okay.
So because we were friends, I also knew that he was dating somebody before I left Nigeria. So when that relationship ended, I was one of the first people that he told, that, I'm no longer, like, I remember.
Why I did that, I don't know.
It's because we were friends.
Yeah.
But it was a lot also.
But it was in deeper.
Yes. But he, I think he texted me and was like, I've been put back on the street or something. So that's how we used to say it. Like, I mean, one of us.
That's such a friendship way to say it.
I like that. It's fruitful.
Like, and I texted him. I'm like, we need to have a call. Like, what happened? And then when we had,
he wanted to do therapist. So that's fire.
But so after that call, I think we also prayed at the end of the call. I actually prayed for him and all that. But immediately I ended the call, I actually said, Holy Spirit is Yeni, my husband. Really? Yes. And the reason is, like, a year or two before, I had a friend in my church. I wasn't attending CCI in Nigeria. Who, anytime I posted, because I used to post like marketing team on my stories, or these are people I work with and all that. And he kind of knew Yeni, right? And he would always reply my stories anytime I posted Yeni on my stories when there was nothing to say. Yeah, I see you people together, you and this guy, something. And he's now that I see that he was being prophetic, but I didn't know it at that time. Because that time I tell him, this guy is not... Exactly, like, stop saying that and all that. So after that call, I just said, Holy Spirit is gaining my husband, and that was it. But then after that,
can I ask, was there a yes or no response?
I don't, to be honest, remember if the Lord answered specifically. But I think what he answered with was that I started to really like Yeni. So I do not only see him as a friend anymore, I saw him as, this is a potential husband, right? Because our values, all of that, that's why we were even friends in the first place, was already like aligned. So I think that conversation was like in May or earlier in the year, right? And from that period till September, I was always just thinking about him. Like, we also have like a group with the marketing team. So like we used to talk a lot. Sometimes we won't have...
Okay, you were still on that group.
Yes, I was on that group. And it used to bother me that, God, what am I supposed to do with all of these feelings that I have? I prayed like crazy. I fasted because I just felt like I don't want to do the same things I'd been doing before that wasn't working. Like, if this is the Lord, let it be very obvious. And I remember there was a day just after like asking God, I actually got a word in the Bible that let me know that Yeni is like my husband. I know that they say that, and I believe it as well, that God, like, there's not one person for you, but God approved of him. Now, how is this man going to see that I'm the one? Right?
So prior to all when this was happening, my friends were also kind of saying
the same thing.
But I didn't put together. Are you sure you guys should not?
Wow. Yeah, that's why you were still in it.
No. When I left this relationship, so I left
that was your friend.
So I left the relationship in April. Yeah, so all this conversation now started happening like around that June, July. Yeah, so that period we always say,
you tease us and stuff.
Yeah, and more.
Several people are single. What is wrong with them?
At that time, I was still forming. Let me just
pray about it.
Yeah, let me pray about it.
Pray about it. Like,
let me feel from my.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah. Fair enough. Because you just come out from.
But to be honest, I feel like I was almost giving myself an excuse because.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it was very. I was just like, let me, chill. Let me just relax. Let me take it slow. Let me not do anything about it. And then, so it was more like on both of our sides. So she was also getting people tell her, oh, guys. I was also getting my friends saying, oh, you guys, together and all that. Yeah. So
you made them move eventually.
She'll get to that part.
Okay, let's carry on.
So, I mean, now in September, I remember just feeling like, because from Nigeria, I always felt like there were certain things that I should be open to like sharing with my pastors. That's the relationship that I've had with my pastors. Yeah. Not because I depend on them, because I have my own personal like relationship with the Lord. But I felt like this is something that this light has been here for how many months? Like, what do I do? So I decided to have like a conversation with my pastor in Manchester, and that conversation ended up leading to our relationship. And I didn't plan it. I literally just went to our pastor to say, PK, I have this feeling. It has been there for a while. Please just give me some answer. What should I do? And because I come from a more like conservative background, I really felt like he was just going to say, go back and pray about it. And he was like, bring your phone. I don't know. I wasn't expecting that. I was like, bring your phone. Let me help you type a message. And he did that. But I quickly deleted it because I'm like, oh my God, yes. I was a bit like scared that why would he do that and all that. But then he had seen like a glimpse.
So when I got the message, I was actually driving. So I didn't
he sent it. And then
I deleted.
If at that time he didn't even know I was the one. Like Pique didn't know that
you were Yeni.
Yes, okay. So when I was driving when I saw the message, I just looked at my phone and I just saw I think we had to talk. I feel something more. Or was that
Something like that.
yeah,
I
something
don't
around that line, right?
Oh, you must have been so shy.
So,
God.
so when I saw this thing, I just smiled, but I was driving, so I didn't want to
Yeah.
so I got to where I was going. And by the time I picked up my phone, she had
I deleted
deleted
it.
the message.
That's yeah, you even know that.
So I now replied and I was like, oh,
What did
you delete?
You're one of those people.
Yeah, no, that's
So deleted is not but see. If I do something, does that not mean I don't?
Exactly.
But I mean, because of the kind of friendship, I was like,
Fair enough.
yeah, like, tell me what you deleted, or it was a message basically sent.
Yeah.
Or something. So, but I already saw the first line of the message, so I
Yeah.
kind of had an idea. Yeah, so I said, what did you delete? So she said that, oh, did I see it? I
Yeah.
should not worry. If I didn't see it, I should not bother about it. I should not worry. So I was like, no, I saw a glimpse of what you said, and I think it's something we should talk about, right? So I think I was going for a shoot that day. So I said, okay, I would call her at some time. Like, let me quickly finish up my shoot, and
Yeah.
so I finished up the shoot. I went back to my car, and I called her.
Just smiling.
Then I called her, and then we had like this, like almost a 2-hour conversation.
Yeah.
And I mean, literally started dating from that day.
That's one. I have a lot of questions. I'm going to circle back, but
Okay.
just along the lines of, you guys started dating and everything. We know why you started dating. You like each other, fine and good. But at what point do you now think, or do you now decide that, okay, she had already asked God, and you said, there was no clear-cut answer, but one of the ways that you knew that, okay, there's something more was said developing these passions. What about you? At what point did you now think, oh, Mo is somebody that can be a wife, can be my wife or your wife?
So I think that didn't happen that day. It happened a while back.
Oh,
So you know how they say, if you look in your circle and you can't find someone that you can date or get married to, then change your circle. So at a point in my life, I did that analysis and I was like, okay, Mo fits that right. So it was more of like a no-brainer at that point. Like, we've been friends for 2-3 years. Because what are we doing talking stage for again? Say, oh, what's the favorite color? What's your no? So yeah. Although all that happened the 3 years past. That we've been friends, right? So yeah, and then after we had that call that day, I was like, you know what? So I think there was, and again, another thing that kind of will I say was like a confirmation was, so you know how people say, let's see where this goes.
yeah.
Right. So meaning there's no plan to it per se. We just say, oh, let's see where it goes. Let's just ride the wave. But instead of that, what I said that day was, let's make it go somewhere. So
A word.
yeah. So
Let's make it go somewhere.
the minute I said that, I wasn't conscious that that was what I said until like a second later I realized that, wait, why did I say let's make it go somewhere? Usually it's let's see where it goes and then we just start. But like, I knew that, what, this was meant to happen. Yeah. So
Oh, that's brilliant. So I think your story is very beautiful. It's very unique. I love seeing people who start off as friends. When I saw your video about, God funding your wedding, and it just really makes me realize that, when God approves, like you said, when God approves of someone for you, He has approved a relationship, don't really think too much about the nitty-gritty. Because one thing I've not heard you people say so far is, oh, you were waiting for to be financially stable, or you're waiting to get a dream job. I didn't hear any of you say that, or I don't know, some people believe that, but I found that, if it's marriage, if it's marriage or anything at all that God has called you to do, just do it.
Yeah.
And with that alignment comes ease.
Yeah.
So I guess that's actually a word for somebody, like an encouragement. If truly you found someone that God approves of,
Yeah.
there will be a certain level of ease that will come with it. There might be challenges, obviously. The fact that God has approved of it does not mean that the humanly problems or challenges, you will find its way, but you'll be able to overcome with ease.
yeah.
And everything. So I really encourage everybody to watch that video where you talk about, how God sponsored your wedding, like really good stuff, great stuff. But I want to take this conversation, a notch higher. And I want you to just talk to us about, so there's a phrase, marriage is beautiful, but it's work. My aim for this conversation is to really reshape the minds of people, because it seems that people are attracted to bad news. You know how they say, you know, thousands and thousands of airplanes are flying back and forth every day, every year. But, you know, once one plane crashes, it makes the news, which obviously is devastating. But in terms of marriage, it's just, I feel like it's something that we, as a people, we need to learn. That was something I struggled with. So it's really, really important to me that we amplify good marriages. And that's why I've brought you here, because you love each other boldly, you love each other loudly, you love each other truly. It's palpable, right? And I think people feel like, okay, then it should be easy, or maybe it's void of its troubles, or not even troubles. Just as with everything in life, there are hurdles you face, challenges you face. If you don't want any problem, be alone. As long as you're with somebody, there are differences in opinions, characters, behaviors. You've come from two separate families. You have to live at least a minimum of maybe 2.5 decades or however long apart from each other, and now you've come together to be one practically. So now some people say, okay, marriage is beautiful, but it's work. And I find that maybe it's the fact that it's work that kind of deters people. So you see people saying, this is making me scared. I'm scared to get married. And I'm like, oh my God, don't be scared. So I want you to talk to us about that. What did you do to, in quotes, prepare for the work that marriage is right now?
So God was already telling me, like, so I have a lot of dreams. I'm Josephine.
I love it.
2 years before we got married, I was already having, like, you know, not every single day, but consistent things that were telling me that I would soon get married. But I also knew that I had a lot of, I don't know the word to use, but like character development needs in my life. Like, I think one of the first things is just being honest with yourself. You want to get married, you want to have a happy marriage. It's almost like, you know, what they're actually teaching us in church right now. You want to have a happy marriage, but what are you doing to get better personally? So for me, before, you know, that wedding day actually came, God was already kind of telling me, right? And I also started to see, like, I mean, for example, I have siblings. Sometimes I'll do something, my elder sister will send me one long WhatsApp message telling me about, you know, this thing you did, And as the last month, I was kind of spoiled, right? I'm still kind of spoiled, to be honest.
A pampered girl. A pampered girl.
So over that period of time, I could see how I became a bit more intentional with working on myself. Even with like friendship, for example, I saw how I could be better with friendship, showing up for people. Because if I learn that, I can do it better in marriage for my wife.
That's so beautiful.
Right? So for me, that's like how I would say it's like God started to show me how I need to work on this, I need to work on that, I need to work on this. Not that I was a terrible person. It's just I had things that I need to like develop and mature in. Right? And when he showed me those things, I did not ignore it. I worked on them. Till today, that's my husband. I watch YouTube videos like I'm being paid, you know, to watch it. So that time I would watch like relevant YouTube videos on marriage. I also tried to gravitate towards good marriages, right? Because so you see bad news, you see, but I also had people around me that is it not the same marriage? Is this person enjoying? Like, how do you
having a great time?
You know, and you're so happy and you're growing and all that. So I gravitated towards that. I also prayed a lot, you know. I mentioned how even, you know, when the Lord told me that Yeni is a good match, I prayed, I fasted, you know. Towards my marriage. I used to also pray a lot for the person I'll get married to, for my children, like things way ahead of time I used to do. So I'll say those are the things, like working on myself, prayerfully, like getting ready as well. And
are you engaging with content, relevant content that will visual? So I find that people think that we are born with the templates to be a decent person. Like we learn every good trait you have has been put into you by maybe upbringing, your parents, the community, the books you've read, the videos you've watched, the music you listen to, your culture, everything that you engage with influences who you become. So one thing I did an episode called Don't Despise Relationship Content. or don't ignore, don't look down on relationship content. Because I was speaking to a friend, a guy, and I don't know if it's a guy thing, so you might tell me. And he says he doesn't listen to one of our very favorite pastor couple relationship coaches to listen to. And I say, why? Says, oh no, that once they just start all this, they're you married you as a wife, as a husband, and he's just like, he doesn't really vibe with that. I said, okay, so how many books on marriage have you read or dating? Is that is everyone dating intelligently? Great book, by the way. You should definitely pick that up. So he's still dating intelligently. Oh my god, he's listening to this one. Anyways, he said that, and then his girlfriend that was putting him on to that, like, who initiated them to read the book together. I said, so if she didn't do that, and you want to get married soon, what makes you think you're going to be a good husband? And it's that thing where you think you are going to be, but you need someone to teach you. Something just came to mind. I think it was Jackie Hill Perry when she quoted the scripture that says, teach the, I think it was Paul was admonishing, the older women to teach the younger women to love their husbands and their children. And she says there is a teaching that needs to be done. So whether you subject yourself, which is encouraged, subject yourself to discipleship or counseling, whatever you want to call it, or if you want to do personally, read. There's content out there that's free. There's this episode. There's this episode. Well, let's cap it at that. Mr. A, tell us what you did to.
So for me, I mean, first, it looks like you guys have said it all because it was
similar things.
Yeah, it was a similar thing because in my case, it was more like I didn't even have a choice so I went to Convention University.
Okay.
Right. And my parents, I used to attend when I was little. So I used to hear Bishop Oyedepo say, I have a hitch-free marriage. There was just a lot of possibilities that I could just see around. Yeah. So even though then I would have said, I was conscious of it, but because I was just in that environment, it already shaped how I saw marriage, right? So I didn't feel like, there was also the part of personal development, right? Reading books, listening to sermons, things like that, right? So it just kind of helped my So.
And it's interesting because it's the simple things. It's so simple. And then obviously there's the there's a practicality of it, living it out, which is another conversation because there's also people that like to consume. But it's not changing your life. So I know sometimes people say, well, I'm not ready for marriage yet. And I'm always intrigued. So I tend to ask people like, okay, why do you say so? Because I will not assume that you are wrong. Surely you might be right. So I'm like, why do you say so? And you hear things like, oh, I don't have money yet, or I'm still working on myself. I'm like, okay, so what aspects of yourself exactly? First of all, you don't have to be a perfect person. You need someone that's intentional about working on yourself. And I'm sure that is something that you're still even doing, even while you're there. Obviously, certain things then change from what to do before. Now it's what you do during. So I really encourage people, please don't despise it when you see someone doing a video. Yes, in the first few seconds, you know if it's for you or not. So people are set up their own tripod to say that, please, if your husband or your wife does not do X and X, divorce them. Just don't even waste time. I was listening to a podcast. Great stuff, good lessons to learn. These are two divorcees and they were just sharing their experiences. If you listen to them just objectively, you can pick up a lot of lessons to not end up in their position. And what really stood out to me was the fact that marriage was not the problem. The people that they married was the problem, were the problems. So you married someone because you got pregnant with the person. It's not gonna end a 20-year gap. It's not gonna end with that. The girl said this man did bank transfer for her bride price. He gave me a loan and just bank transfer. At least put it inside envelope with cola. I didn't know how you did your tribe, like some bitter cola, some cola, not some palm oil. But she had telling herself that, oh, don't worry, by the time she does her womanly thing, it will change. Do little pro-mats. And then the other person, someone actually told her that the man that you're marrying is a lazy bone. He said the man is very comfortable in poverty. Is that what he wants? And they said, God forbid this woman for this bad belly. So both of them lacked accountability. They didn't even the other young lady, she didn't have anybody that counseled her. So both of them lacked community. They didn't have an idea of what marriage should be before they got into it.
And that's the funny thing, because that's the idea that some people have. Because when they see all this content of, oh, this person said, oh, she married her husband, he's a lazy man, this one said this. That's what people are focusing on.
Yes.
And it's literally out there, like you said, like bad news travel like fast. Like people want to always see the bad news. And the good ones that are, telling the right stories, telling us that, marriage doesn't have to choke your neck like this. And you can literally make it work. Even though, like, yes, there will be, hurdles here and there, but you can make it work. But
talk to us about that, actually. What kind of hurdles is considered healthy?
So before, like, when we knew we were going to get married, we had, very, like, tough conversation. I just remember one. Well, yeah, so we had like very tough conversations to sit down and say, okay, these are the things I expect from my partner.
Yeah.
Like from both sides. Right. And I think one thing for me that I mentioned was, for example, I said a non-negotiable for me was I can't, if you cheat once, that's the end.
Yeah.
Like I'm like that. Like I can't wrap my head around it. I think it was same for you as well, right? Yeah. So those are like one of the things that we talked about. We also talked about like finances, right? It wasn't going to be a case of, because I said, I like someone that is, what's the word? She's someone that is independent, but also dependent. Like maybe like in the middle, kind of, right? Not someone that is always, I want to make my hair, give me. I want to make my nails, give me. I want to so.
Your own birthday.
Yeah, exactly. My birthday to give me. Right. So so those are the things that, we had conversations about, say, these are our non-negotiables. These are the things that we should expect from each other. If you're getting married, or you're getting to that point where you get married, you should have a marriage counselor, someone that both of you are accountable to, because it's really, really helped us like a lot. And because our counselor was great, man. Like he drilled us so much. Very well. Like, because I think their goal is to make you see that after this drilling, if two of you look at each other and say, this thing cannot work, then now is the best time to grow yourself. Yeah, but that drilling is necessary, is important. So after they've drilled you, you can look at each other and say, yes, we still want to go ahead after the whole thing. Yeah, so right. And again, we also knew that we both had different characters. I'm more quiet, relaxed, I'm chill, I'm a soft guy. I don't like stress, but she's vibrant. Let me put it that way.
Yes, that was what I was going to use.
But yeah, so at that time when we had conversations, I knew it wasn't going to be a problem for me, because, to be honest, I don't think I would want to get married to somebody that also as chill and relaxed as I am. Because both of us just do chill and relax. Yeah, exactly. There has to be some spice in the marriage, Yeah, so things around that, like our characters, our values, the way we saw finances, things like that. Yeah, so it's important to have like those conversations so you can know beforehand that, okay, if I enter this thing, I know that I've entered it.
Yeah.
And I know we've had the conversation. It's a different case where you don't know how the conversation, you now enter and then you're now finding out. Because sometimes when people say things like, oh, I got married and I found out that my husband does not, not the example can exactly, my husband doesn't go to church. I'm like, what were you discussing before now? Like, what were you talking about? So these are things that you must have, like have those difficult conversations beforehand. Like, it's very important.
So I find that some people just tend to shy away from it.
Exactly.
Let's step out of the comfort. So I'll say to someone that when you're dating, be a detective, ask every question that you have. Don't, obviously, I'm not in support of, I think there was sometimes someone asked me a question about so a guy asked her what he would benefit from being married to her. I don't know how about you, what you think, but I found that question a bit weird. What you mean? What will I directly, like what will be my benefits if you become my wife? So you that are thinking about marrying her, you didn't see benefit. She needs to come and give you proper representation. 10 reasons why you should marry. I find it condescending. So there's a way you can find out if someone is compatible with you without being condescending, or they are just being there are social cues still apply. There's wisdom still apply.
Ways to go about.
Ways to go about it. You know, you can ask questions that are not so direct that will help you understand someone's thought process. Nobody is perfect, obviously, but like there are certain things that are just so important to you. You know what's important to you. So these are things that I find that will make your marriage either enjoyable or just a mess. I'm going to use this as a very nice segue into a comment I saw, and I want you to talk about it. I think the comment was around your in-laws are not in support of you. They are always for their son. Like, I don't know. So this person is basically saying that when you get married, just forget about it. Your in-laws will never be for you. And that's something that I know someone would then proceeded to comment like, like that's something you're scared of, or mother-in-law, sister-in-law, blah, 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 blah. So I don't know, like, what would you say to someone who has that fear right now?
I think what I would say is, why are you taking on someone else's fear and someone else's experience? Because I remember growing up, so you watch these movies where the lead female character will be praying that, God, before I get married, please don't make kill my mother-in-law ahead of me. Like, why would you do that? Because you're literally going to be a mother-in-law soon one day. If somebody prays that kind of prayer, you know, for you, like, would you like it? So I would tell whoever, you know, thinks that all in-laws are bad is, why are you taking on someone else's fear, someone else's experience? This is going back to like being prayerful, pray ahead of time. Even if you're not dating anybody now, start to pray about it. Even your family members too.
Yes, to your partner
as well, right? So I would say don't take on someone else's fear. And to be honest, there are in-laws that are terrible, right? For people like that, or if you ever get into something like that, I would say also pray for a partner that covers you. Because if you two are brought together by God and the in-laws still decide that they want to be, wicked people or whatever, just pray that you and your partner are people that cover each other. Because there are partners that you will have that the way they will cover you, it's not that their siblings have changed or their mom has changed, but they cover you such that the heat, you don't feel it, right? So pray for, and again, I would say that's another thing to actually look out for, that, you know, should be a make or break thing. If you are in a relationship, if you're not a married person, and you're already seeing that they throw you under the bus, you go and visit them and the mother is talking to you anyhow, the siblings treat you anyhow, and they don't step up for you in any way, I would say take a step back or end that relationship. Because when you get into marriage,
that's even a bigger problem than the in-laws.
So those are the two things I would say. Don't take on someone else's fear. Don't take on someone else's like experience. But if that is the case where the in-laws are actually not great, make sure that person that you're getting married to is a good cover.
That's really great. My next one for you, a comment that I want you to kind of like tell us what you think about that. So someone says, don't show him that you're a superwoman or you forever remain a superwoman. When I first saw it, I didn't get it. But I could also use the example of, the podcast I listened to where the woman married a lazy man. So she was really doing a lot of work, and the man refused. It was ridiculous. So let me know, what do you think about that? Is she a superwoman to you? What's the term superwoman? Like, what comes to mind when you hear that?
So, I mean, superwoman to me is someone who has a balance of both worlds. So she can be independent and she can also be dependent.
Yes.
Right. So it's not a case of like it's context specific, right? So she's independent in the sense of maybe she has a business, she runs a business. But so okay, let me put it this way. So I don't know if you've seen this reel that we did where it was International Women's Day, I think. Yeah, it was International Women's Day. So, and the post was like, shout out to all the women who are bosses in their 9 to 5s, but when they come back home, they're
baby girl, come on.
So that's like the perfect way to explain. So, but to that comment, you are a superwoman and you marry a lady, and then your husband is just dependent on you.
Fair enough. That's sad.
Yeah, it's sad.
What do you say to men like that?
Wake up, walk. Why are you lazy? Because, I mean, to be honest, like even the Bible says it, right? The husband is the head of the home.
Yes.
So as the head, there are certain responsibilities that you cannot run away from. There are things that you have to do as the head of the family. If you are not the case of, you are the lazy type, you're always expecting your wife to be the one to do all the run around, finances and all that. I think the question I'll first ask you is, first of all, which Bible are you reading? Who are the friends around? What's your community like? Who are you talking to? Who is advising you? Who are you accountable to? Because people like that you can already tell that they are not in the right circle. The kind of things that they are listening to are things that would not essentially help them. Things that will, derail you from being the actual head of the home. Exactly. Things that will derail you from doing those responsibilities. So what kind of community do you have around you? Who are you listening to? Who is your pastor? Who are you accountable to? So things like that. If you are that kind of man, just wake up. Yeah.
So important.
Yeah, just wake up.
I like that wake up because sorry for continuing, because sometimes we want to pamper people and say, don't worry. And yes, there's a place for that, but sometimes literally just wake up, do what you have to do. Yeah.
Speaking from a financial point of view, men think that, you have to, some people, I've heard people say, oh, I must have 20 million naira in my account before I get married. And to be honest, another thing that people overlook is the power of a double income household. I don't know how else to explain it, but just know that having a double income household is great. But that's why you also have to find a wife that, understands, someone that's independent, someone that understands finances, and she's not just out to spend and spend and spend, like someone that knows how to nurture funds, right? So just having that kind of partner to say, I may not have 20 million naira in my account, you may not have 30 million naira in your account, but we are coming together. My 10,000 naira, your 10,000 naira becomes 20,000 naira for, and the two of us have become. So that 20,000 naira is not for one person. In the sense of it, you get, but two have become one. Exactly. So, so just having that double income out.
I can't wait for us to do like a conversation on finances. I did one with my husband, money, love and money, and finances and handling finances in a relationship. I think that was one of our most listened to episodes. So you could listen. Probably the most listened to episode, so you can tell that there's a demand for that. People, because money is a spirit, and if they'll be cousin, it shakes foundations that are not strong.
Because I've seen marriages that end because of finance.
Oh God.
Yeah,
and avoidable things that can be avoided. Things can learn and unlearn.
Yeah,
that's really good. And just kind of circling back to address that comment of a superwoman, I'll say from a woman's perspective, I understand the fear, especially like you said, maybe to a lazy man. Now you're doing so much. It's a partnership, so we want to share some responsibility, so it's not too much on one person. I would say to anybody that's listening and you are worried that if you get married or when you get married, your husband will make you do X and X, or your wife will put in so much responsibility on you, and that's for the men. You said it brilliantly. Don't take on someone else's negative experience. Your Mr. Yeni, your life was shaped to an extent by your community because you saw several possibilities of good marriages and what it looks like. And there's something the mind is so powerful in how it shapes our reality. So I would say that look to people that are doing it right. Don't think that because someone else unfortunately married a nuisance, then that's going to be your story. Marry someone good and pour yourself mercilessly. Pour yourself entirely. Don't hold back. All this talk about like don't. And you need to see people in the comments saying, tell them, oh, there I go soon clear. Don't worry, you leave this. Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, I hear that it's unfortunate that people are experiencing that, and I really deeply empathize. But for you that you're not there yet, and for you that you're probably married and you're consuming these things, it's affecting your mind. It's affecting people's minds. So I would say that marry somebody and pour yourself. If you want to be a superwoman to that man, be. You know the kind of person you are married to. Work. So I'm going to use my life as an example. I'm coming out of maternity leave early. And as much as I want to stay at home and just focus on my baby because that's what that's what my body is wanting. But I recognize, like you said, the power of a 2-income household. There are certain things that we can provide for our child. That's 2 income. My husband works like crazy. you've met the man. She's always doing one thing or the other. Today is off day, but I see working, doing it. Who does that? But and I'm like, I know the person I married. This man will go to the ends of the earth to provide. And so if I can start work earlier, I will do it. I am a superwoman. And I'm not going to hold back because this is who I was before I met him. If I wasn't married, I would do it. I would do what I needed to do to advance. I'm also a very ambitious person. I've always been a go-getter, achieving things. Now, these two people have come together. As much as I am his baby girl, I'm also a superwoman in the sense that I work hard. But at the same time, in him, in God, I find rest. And in my partner, in my home, I find rest. I find that peace. So know that you can be both. You can be a baby girl, like you said. Be a baby girl when you're home, and then be a boss lady. You can. And when you're married to the right person, this person will nurture you and create an environment where that personality in you can thrive. Right. So please don't hold back. Whatever it is that being a superwoman looks to you, don't attribute it to negative connotations. You get. I understand from a woman's perspective, especially in a deeply cultural society, there's certain responsibilities that are placed on women that should not be so. For instance, you're taking on the spiritual responsibility. Only you're doing that one. You're also the home manager. You're paying school fees. So in that sense, I see why someone would say, being a super, don't be a super. But then that advice is not good because it's basically telling you to hold back. Please don't hold back. But let's wisdom guide all our decisions, right? You've shared some really great tips. So I wouldn't even tell you to now give more tips. So you said everything from consuming the right content, surrounding yourself in the right environment,
working on yourself,
so important. Being prayerful, trusting the leading of God per time. And also not taking on other people's traumas or bad experiences.
Constructs.
Yes.
Decide your.
In fact, change it. Like take on people's good experiences and pray that's what I want.
Thank you, because prayer works. And like I said, more of the mind. What you constantly surround yourself with, you tend to become subconsciously. So if you're constantly surrounded with good things, become that. Whatever you take in is what you give out.
Exactly.
So protect your mind from the negative things and fill your mind with positive.
What?
Alpha, I'm going to write book. Bye. But thank you so much. Truly, you've been great company, and I know that everyone that listens to you has been blessed. So this is an episode to really, really come back to every point in time.
For us, so I'm gonna come back and watch it, and
lovely. But I don't know if you have any last words that you want to share with anybody today.
So we've been married 6 months, right? So we're intense. But so whenever people ask me, how is marriage going? I always tell them, it's beautiful. I highly recommend.
Oh, sweet. That's perfect. I endorse this message.
I highly recommend.
I endorse this message.
Actually, that's the same thing I was going to say. Like, I highly recommend it. It's just been 6 months for us, but I can see how in 6 months.
Have you seen someone that's been sick for 6 months? That's a long time.
Well, but compared to other people, it's like short. But I can see how in 6 months I have grown. I have enjoyed companionship. I have laughed. It's just that companionship.
You guys are always having a great time. As an outsider, I can tell you for a fact. They're always having a great time.
We always say that if somebody puts in video or camera in our house, comedy show.
I love it.
But I highly recommend. Just do
that's like my son as vibrance.
Exactly.
We also recommend that.
But that's what I'll say.
Lovely. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences, for being vulnerable, and for the wisdom that you have dished out today. And we're really grateful.
Thank you.
For being good company. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us as well.
You're welcome. But this is not the episode to listen to just once. So if you're listening, come back again. But don't forget to like, to share, comment, and follow them. Please tell us, just say it out. I will still link it, but where can people reach you?
So Instagram is The Adeno Girls. Yeah, and same on YouTube. Okay. Actually, everywhere. Instagram, TikTok, just The Adeno Girls. That's
There's only one. You can't miss that. But thank you everyone for listening or watching. Make sure to like, comment, share. You know the usual drill. Until next time, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.